my overcoat dangling free. The flashes of Wimbledon come and are we. Making, oh, bugger. Oh, I forgot that, didn't I? Oh, artist. Oh, I'm going to get a clean one. Oh, hello, darlings. I'll be there in a moment. Uncle Bulgaria, he can remember the times that he wasn't behind the times. With his map of the world, pick up the papers and take them to Tobermory. In it, underground, overground, wombling free. The wombles of Wimbledon Common are we, making good use of the things that we find, things that the everyday folk, quite frankly, leave behind. The messy fuckers. Good evening, darlings, and a very warm welcome to Wednesday Night Live. And it's nothing less than a sheer indulgent joy to be here with you. This little time that we spend together is, in my mind, the equivalent of a lush black forest gatto. It's the ultimate in beautiful, indulgent pleasure. And I love it. I live for these moments. I look forward to it like Claudia Winkleman looking forward to not cutting her fringe prior to being enthusiastically podgered behind the chip shop in Dore and Totley, which has got a really handy little plinth. Well, anyway, enough about that. Hi, darlings. I hope you've had a splendid day. Excuse me while I have a slurp. And I hope you're all fine and dandy. And thank you so much for honouring me with your presence. Now, before I go any further, I will swap you onto all messages because I wouldn't want to miss a single word. Lord Stiff Upper Lip is with us. Hello, Boaty. By the time you read this, I will be gone. Oh, bloody hell. Oh, well. Oh, I would hang on, let's just. Oh, gone to bed. Tucked up nice and warm in my country manor house. Oh, that's jolly nice. Well, thanks for popping in and well, I won't say sleep well because you're already in bed tucked up, so I won't hear you. But that would be a nice place to be on a January night, tucked up in a country manor house with the scullery maid. Oh, Rita, the scullery maid. There we are. Jimmy Quinn is with us. Good evening, Boaty and everyone. Good evening, Jimmy. Barry's here, that guy from SETI Alpha 5. Hi. God, I can't see a bloody thing in dim light. Well, he says hi. Oh, JQ, Jimmy Quinn. Right, excuse me, I'm just going to have to... I do need to attend to this. I'm not being rude, but obviously I'm in the middle of a 7-day sale challenge. It's me against mustard. And I've advertised the car that I'm selling, so I just need to monitor the comments in case it's somebody champing at the bit to buy it. Oh dear. Okay, and right, jolly good. Okay, right. Yeah, the sales challenge is going well. I'm glad to see that Mustard is taking it seriously and has desperately put a Facebook post up offering to swap the Golf that he bought. Yeah, he's offering to swap that for a sandwich or a battered sausage or something. Honest to God. Now, I can see that Mustard's put a video up, and I've not watched it yet. Obviously, I've only just got in. But I was on the phone to Mustard earlier, and he's told me that there is some mention of the sales challenge in the video. And he said that it's totally unfair that I've got a good car to sell, and he's got to try and sell the Golf. But that is his own fault. He bought the bloody thing, didn't he? And he went on record. The video after he bought and collected the Golf, he actually said on record that this is my choice. The other two weren't keen. And if this doesn't sell, I've got to take full responsibility for it. So now he's going to take full bloody responsibility for it. So if you weren't aware, there is a 7-day sales challenge going on, and it's going to be an ongoing thing. This is the first week. I meant to bring that book down. Damn, I forgot about that. I need to tell you about that as well. So yeah, 7-day sales challenge. We've got 7 days to each sell a car. I've got to try and sell the Rover 25, the Wedgwood blue one, and Mustard has got to try and sell that Golf. And the rules are we're not allowed to knowingly sell it to a bad home, and we're not allowed to sell at a loss. So basically what I've done so far is I brought the car back here to Windy Bum on Monday night, and I've made so far 3 videos. The first video is the drive home, so it's a 60-mile road test where I talk about that particular car and the Rover 25 in general. The video that went up today is showing you a little bit more of the car in daylight, showing you around the interior and showing me adding value to the car by installing a period correct Blaupunkt CC32 radio cassette, installing a centrally mounted command and control electronic point of sale charging system for all of your modern electric devices. So bringing the Rover 25 really into the 21st century. So yeah, that was a really good job to do. And the third video, which I haven't edited yet, but which will go out tomorrow, is me taking the car to a scenic spot and taking some nice photographs of it. So that's what I've done. I've also put the car for sale on Facebook Marketplace, and tomorrow I will be advertising the car on eBay. So that's what I've done for my part of the sales challenge. Mustard has put a post up saying, will anybody swap this Golf for a nice sandwich? Oh dear. Oh, good. So good evening, Jimmy Quinn. John Stoodley is with us. Hey, chat. Hey, Boaty. Good evening to you, John. Barry Scrotter is here. Evening, noodle lovers. Oh, hello. Skick is here as well. On the news today, the British people need to get ready for war. Oh, bloody hell, do we? And there will be no age restriction. Think I would ask to be in the catering department. Who? Right, okay. Well, there we are. There we are. Right. We'd better adopt some Dad's Army type identities, hadn't we? Who wants to be private parts? Cheeseburger, you can be private dancer. Oh, good evening, Cheeseburger, by the way. I didn't spot you there. I'll be general. No, I'll be, what's higher, major or general? I'll either be major I'll either be major disaster or general accident. Mustard can be whichever one is lower. I obviously I outrank Mustard. I mean, I'm officer material. I mean, he might get Mustard is the sort of chap who could get a what's it in the field, a commission in the field, but he's not officer, is he? Obviously. I mean, he wouldn't know which way to pass the port at the regimental dining table. Good evening, says Bad Books. And Mark Prasad is here. Good evening, Boaty, and all here. Cheeseburger says, I've changed my mind. He doesn't look like the milk tray man. He should be advertising 1970s black magic. Only Boaty knows the secret of the black magic cook. What a lovely interlude with Womble's nostalgia, says Mark. Skick says, for God's sake, no one mentioned bacon or bites. Trisha's here, the lovely Trisha. Hello, everyone. Hello to you. Ivor Spotty Botty is here. Andrew, a very good evening, Boaty and everyone. And Barry says, hopefully we won't have any crap about HP sauce again. It wasn't crap. That was amazing original content. Amazing original content. I mean, it's a fucking outrage that I haven't got 100,000 subscribers when I can come up with fascinating original content like that. Think, I'm no hubnut. I'm no JM on cars. I don't need to be given an exotic vehicle to drive or even a mundane but interesting vehicle to drive in order to create content. I can just sit here with a glass of wine and entertain you for half an hour with some of the best material that you've probably ever heard and probably exists on YouTube. And I know that you would all agree with me on that one. Stephanie Smith is here. Hi, Boaty. Love the Black Forest Gatto reference. We see this more as a Cherry Bakewell moment, and you're the cherry on top. That's rather sweet, actually. Thank you very much, and hello to you, and of course your other half, who I assume is there watching with you. Neil is here. Neil Gibbons, aka the Gibbinator. Hello, all. Hope we are well. I'm out again tonight, so I'm listening in. Oh, and Skick says a brilliant review of that 25 boat. That's very kind of you, Skick. Thank you very much. And I need to talk to you, Skick, about that book, because I noticed something. I will go and get the book in a minute. When I'm on top of the comments, I'm going to go and get the book that we talked about last night, and I'm going to show you something on the packaging, and I'm going to tell you what Detective Inspector Boaty has worked out. Bad Book says, have you been listening to the new Wombles on Radio 4? Narrator nearly as good as the late Bernard Cribbins. I haven't caught one, I must admit. And Cheeseburger says, Bad Books, there is an official Wombles YouTube channel. Very nostalgic. Ivor says, ever thought of being a seller of cars on a permanent basis? Oh, wait. Oh, and it was a brilliant review of the 25. Oh, thank you very much. Barry Scrotter says that Golf is worth 350 to 400 pounds of anyone's money. I don't think it's worth that. And it owes us more than that. Bloody hell. He's got his work cut out with that Golf. He has got his work cut out with that Golf. And I'm going to enjoy watching him suffer. That Golf is going to be the first car that Mustard and Boaty lose money on, and it's all his fault. The next car we will lose money on will be the Fred the Blasted Shed. High Ace Days and Holidays, High Ace Days and Holidays, who I have met, popped into the restaurant and collected a takeaway the other night. And and made me feel good and then immediately bad. And he said, I recognize you. You're that guy off YouTube, aren't you? And I thought, yes, celebrity influencer. I've made it. Yes, I am, I said. He said, yeah, I've seen you on Project Nigel's videos. I thought, oh, fucking hell. Talk about giving with one hand and take it away with another. But, oh, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. And the 25 is a nice car, actually. It's probably, if you haven't seen it in real life, it probably doesn't look as good in real. Well, it does. It kind of does. It's got some imperfections around it. It's got a good old dent. It's got some paint imperfections. It's got a crease. Nothing horrendously unsightly. I would say it's got the right amount of damage, if that doesn't sound too daft. It looks very respectable, and yet it's got enough superficial aesthetic damage on it that if it picked up a trolley ding in Tesco, then you'd be annoyed, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. You wouldn't absolutely break your heart over it. It could be improved, of course, if you wanted to improve it. As it is, it looks okay. Looks more than okay. It actually looks nice. But the point is, it's solid. It's low mileage. It's had all the upgrades. The interior is lovely, and it drives fantastically. You don't all that often get a low mileage 25, I suppose. And that is a very low mileage car, and it did all of its miles in the first 4 years of its life. And it's just really tight. The gearbox is really tight. The steering's really tight. Everything's really tight. And at the price point, I don't think there's any better out there, honestly. So I'm so yeah, hopefully the car will find a good home. Did you find out if it had aircon? No, haven't checked that yet, I must admit. I still haven't checked the fog light either. I'll do those two things tomorrow. Oh, excuse me. Oh, the danger of late night live streams with wine. The burpage, the unwanted burpage. I mean, it's definitely got an aircon button, and the button definitely lights up. And it's got a fog light button, and it's actually got fog lights. So I need to check those two things. I mean, if it's got working aircon, then that's about. I'll check it out. I need to check it out before I stick it on eBay. I mean, I would have thought adding aircon is quite a thing, isn't it? Because I don't think it would have had. It could have had aircon originally. Actually, it could have. That might not be an add-on. I just need to check it out, don't I? Unfortunately, I'm not clever enough to look under the bonnet and say, well, that's an aircon radiator or an aircon condenser or whatever the aircon thing is that you get under a bonnet. But I'll find out. I will find out. It's a brilliant review, says General Cheeseburger, and still no fecker wants it. They will. They will. It's had a few listing saves on Marketplace, but it's going to sell on eBay. That's where it's going to sell. I'll stick it on eBay tomorrow, not on an auction, on a classified ad. And a buyer will come wandering out of the woodwork. I'm pinning my hopes on the car selling this weekend. I do want to get it sold before Monday. I'm taking this 7-day sales challenge quite seriously, and I'm going to keep a leaderboard running of how we both do, so that we can see who is the primo salesman of the outfit. I mean, neither of us will be last. The unknown banker is going to be last for a very obvious reason. I suppose he doesn't really count, or she. We don't know, do we? Skick says, Barry, what's Fred worth? Fred the shed is worth, I don't know. I'd have to, I mean, just have a look on the video. Note down the registration number. Go to motorwise.co.uk. Put the registration and the yard address in, and they will tell you how much they will give you when they pick it up for scrap, and that's how much it's worth. See, I'm an expert car valuer, absolutely expert. Oh, Damien Eves is here. Hello to you. Scenic Spot, says Ivor Spotty Botty. Is that a code for dog insight? Yeah, you know it. I took it to Shillito Woods, which is one of the UK's premier dogging locations. And I've got no idea if it actually is. It just looks as though it could be. So I've made it that in my mind. In Boaty's world, Shillito Woods is a premier dogging location. If any of you are not bothered about people looking at your browsing history, then do a search on Shillito Woods dogging and let us all know if it is actually a dogging location or not. And if it is, try and find out when the next meet is, and I'll go there and film it. I will. I promise you I will. And that's Shillito Woods, Shillito Woods, Peak District. Bad Book says, Skick, didn't Mustard buy Fred for scrap money, about 350 quid? And Barry says, Skick, I've got no idea really. I might give 250 quid for Fred, he needs a lot doing. God, that's the understatement of a century, isn't it? Don't tell him, Pike, says Chaz Brown. Why doesn't Mustard raffle the golf off? Asks Neil. £2.50 a ticket, and the unlucky person who wins it has a cheap runabout and limit the tickets to make a small profit. I think you'd struggle to sell a ticket. I mean, I think you'd stand more chance of people paying £2.50 not to be in with a chance of being stuck with that golf. Now, that might work. A reverse raffle. You could suggest this to him if you like. Mustard could say that every member of his Facebook group will get a free chance to win the golf. But if they want to opt out, so there's no chance of them winning the golf, they could just pay £2.50. He could raise the money that way, because nobody wants to end up with that. Cheeseburger says, the H-plate Rover at Matthewson's is a 1.1 S Metro, 48,000 miles, guided at £1,000. They have a rally chopper at £1,500. Bloody hell. Okay. Well, okay, so that is similar to Nelson PK then, a 1.1 S. Nelson PK is a 111, so also a 1.1. That one's done 48k. Nelson PK, aka Lewis Hamilton, has done 22k. So whatever that one fetches will be a reasonable guide, I suppose. I mean, Lewis should be worth more for being lower mileage with all the history and everything. Possibly worth less for being a Mark IV rather than, what's an H plate? Mark 2 or 3, I suppose, isn't it? Oh, it's going to be a Mark 3, probably. Damien says, which part of Chesterfield are you from? I'm not from Chesterfield. I'm a Valleys boy. I'm from South Wales. But I do technically live in Chesterfield, admittedly. But I'm not really in Chesterfield. I'm in Chesterfield District Council or whatever. I'm at the top of the hill, mate, heading towards Baslow. Although I did used to live in Hasland. I still want Fred to be done up, says Baddy Scrotter, but he won't, will he? No, he won't. If you went into Dad's army, Boaty, you would be Dan the lavatory man, says Jimmy Quinn. No, I wouldn't. I'd either be Captain Mannering or I'd be, Who did John Le Mesurier play? What was his name? Oh God, I can't remember. How can I not remember? Uncle Frank, Pike's Uncle Frank. What was his surname? God, I can't remember. Cheeseburger will know. He'll have typed it by now. I hate to leave you, says Ivor Spotty Botty, but I must go back to work. Have a great night, everyone. Ta-ta for now. Have a good shift. Thanks for popping in, Ivor. Neil says, or a gallon of petrol, a lip match, and a good insurance policy. Well, you know the problems must have had the last time we had to make an insurance claim. It took a year. Bloody hell. Cheeseburger says they've said that anyone younger than 55 is at risk of call up. For what? Who are we going to war against? Sorry, I haven't listened to the news today. Who are we going to war? Who are we going to war against? Yeah, they've said anyone younger than 55 is at risk of call up. I'm all right now, but Boaty should be sweating. God. Well, it depends. I mean, who are we going to war against? I'll either go into it with gusto or I'll become a conscientious objector. Worked all right for Muhammad Ali, didn't it? Seriously, I've not listened to the news. Who are we supposed to be going to war against? Is it the French? Oh, I bet it's the French. We've got history with them. If we go to war against the French, I'm fighting with them. I love their food and I like Paris. And I like the fact that you're never more than 3 feet from an ashtray. And I like the Citroen CX. And I like skiing. And I like the roller coaster at Park Asterix. Oh, Mark Passad, bless you. Mark Passad has sent a £1.99 super chat. Agreed. More HP source chat is always warranted. Well, you're leaning against an open door with me there, my boy. Thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. And I will literally buy some HP sauce with it. I did. Oh, God. Cheeseburger's going to sit on my head. I did go to Sainsbury's tonight and check out all of the sauce bottles and which ones to buy. And oh, God, I did. They were more expensive than I remembered. There are none for 99p. The cheapest suitable one was £1.20. And then I'd have to just empty them out, wash them out, and then buy the HP sauce and the ketchup. But then I was thinking, you know, can you really taste the difference? I mean, you know, could I get away with just putting Sainsbury's own brand in there? Or would I notice? It's been that long since I've actually eaten any of the stuff. Would generic brown sauce and ketchup be okay? Oh, excuse me. How damned rude. Cheeseburger says, Neil, mustard should give the golf away with channel membership. I agree with that, actually. Hi Ace Days and Holidays says, apologies for inflating and deflating your ego at the same time. Apology accepted. So you are a restaurant customer, say. You are forgiven anything. You put money into our till. You are, you know, I will worship you as a god, my dear chap. May I know your name, sir, to save referring to you as Hi Ace Days and Holidays? But I assume that is a YouTube channel. I assume you've got videos on that channel. And if you have, then just by being here, you have become one of our YouTube community channels. And that means that I tell everybody to go and check you out and subscribe to you. We do that. If we've got a YouTube channel here in this community, we all support each other. So if you could let me know your name, if you're willing to divulge that would be great. And let me know if you've actually got a channel with videos on it, and everybody will go and subscribe to you. So there we are. What? I don't know what that's about. The Rover looks half tidy, to be honest, says Barry. Oh, it's more than half. What? What do you want about, Cheeseburger? And Barry says that Rover is half tidy. The dash needs a wipe, and the leather could do with some pottering lube smearing over it. I agree with that. The plastic inside now, it's pre facelift, mostly pre Project Rise, so it's got the nice dashboard. But yeah, it's got watermarks on it. I'm guessing there was some condensation at some point, so it really needs some treatment on the plastics inside. That's on my list to do. That'll be on a video. And also I need to treat the leather to some hide food, which I have. Always treat your leather with hide food. It's, you know, it's well worth doing. Look after your leather. And the leather interior in that is actually really good. All of the interior is really good, to be fair. Oh, one thing. If you've looked at the videos, you may have noticed that in the front, it has two Rover, genuine and Rover rubber mats. They do not come with the car. I'm stealing them for Sheeson. And before you have a go at me, I've put a stereo in that, so I'm doing a swap. It's the stereo for the mats. I need some decent mats for Sheeson. They're not brilliant, but they're better than what Sheeson's got in him. So just bear in mind that the car is coming either matless or with Sheeson's mats in, and might well be matless. But seriously, the interior is good, drives fantastically, really, really nice little car. Oh, another thing I need to put on the video. Oh, I've got the keys here on the daily car keyring thing. It's only got one key and fob, but happily, again, being pre-facelift, this is it's just a bog standard key, no chip in it or anything, and it's the Lucas fob. So that means, and I don't know why I'm telling you this, I don't think any of you are interested. I'm just reminding myself that I need to put this on a video. So if you wanted a spare key and a spare fob, which would be very sensible, the key you can just get cut anywhere. Timpson's if you're feeling flush. Otherwise, go to your local independent. Emirate Goldline in Milne Row would cut that for about £7 for you. Timpson's would charge you 20 odd. And I can program a new remote fob for you with the trusty P-Scan. So, yeah, that's just a note to myself to put that in a video. Presumably you will be doing a Mustard and Boaty 100-point check on the Rover 25, says Bad Books. Well, in fairness, Mark, I mean, I've given it a 60-mile bloody road test, so that's a fair thing. I'm having a good look around it, and yeah, I mean, I don't know if it'll be 100 points, but by the time the videos are all done, then if you watch all the videos, I think you'll have a damn good idea of the car that you'll be that you would actually see in the flesh. I'm certainly not hiding anything. Poor old Mustard. Poor old Mustard trying to flog that Golf. I hope he's watching this. I hope he's watching this, sitting in his curry-scented, sweaty, thinking, what am I going to do with the Golf? He needs to come up with something. He needs to come up with an idea of genius to get that thing shifted for a profit. He really does. I mean, help him out. Do help him out, you guys. If you've got any smart ideas or clever notions of what he could actually do to move the blessed thing, then please do help. Don't get me wrong, I want to win the challenge. Of course I do. Competitive, Boaty. but I also want the Golf to sell because that's my investment, partially, to my eternal shame. Hi Ace Days and Holiday says, I did have a 2001 25 IL and it had aircon. Well, that's why I suddenly just said that. Because I suddenly remembered that I had an IL as well. If you think back, guys, I'm pretty sure I'm right in this, then Derek, the L Series diesel, Derek was an IL and Derek had aircon fitted to standard. Now, if I can be bothered, and I will be bothered, I've got a 2002 brochure that I can dig out and I will check out the exact specs. But yeah, thinking about it, there is a good chance that the aircon is original to the car. And if so, there's no reason why it couldn't be operative. Doesn't mean that it is operative. It might not have been gassed for the last 15 years. But yeah, I will check that out. The other upgrades are obvious, front fog lights. Sheeson hasn't got front fog lights, and Sheeson is an IXL. IL would have had steel wheels and wheel covers, and obviously that's got 15-inch turbines on it, which suit the car very, very well indeed. That's the same alloys that Brian has got actually, but they look better against Wedgwood blue. Obviously the leather is an upgrade, etc., etc., etc. Cheeseburger says it will generate interest on eBay. Some bloke will want to swap it for a Streetwise. God. Has anybody bought poor Barney yet? Or is he still being hawked around on Facebook for a monkey? Markeaton Park is a prime dogging site, says Barry. Markeaton Park, that's Derby way, isn't it? Oh, dear. Ah, well, this is awkward. Stephanie says, who I assume has Googled rather than just having this knowledge off the top of her head. Stephanie says, apparently Shillito Woods is popular with gay and bi men. You said you'd go, so we will try and find out the next date for you. Oh, God almighty. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. Oh, it could be a laugh. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Well, I can tell you one thing. I've said I would, so I will still go and film it, but I'm not going to be taking any of Mr. Boaty's pottering lube. In fact, I'll probably take a woman with me just to make it clear, even if she's an inflatable one. Is it really, Stephanie? So is it like a dogging site for gay and bisexual men? Well, if bisexual, could be a woman then. God. Oh, Wilson. Everybody's saying Wilson. Of course it was. Sergeant Wilson. Thank you. Well, let's make this a community thing. Let's find out all about Shillito Woods and what people get up to there during the hours of darkness. I mean, it's literally round the corner from me. So we could do a live stream from there. Mr. Boaty, live from Shillito Woods. Actually, let's do that. I'll check out what the internet signal is like there, but let's do a live stream from Shillito Woods. I'll get arrested, won't I? Or buggered. Oh dear. Skick says the members of Yacht 24 could be called up in the army. God, can you imagine? Who mentioned fucking HP Source says bad books? I love the idea of the members of Yacht 24 being called up. A fleet of streetwise heading off to battle. God. Dear God. Who the hell are we going to war against? Let's hope it's not anybody any good. Oh, let's hope it's nobody like Ukraine. They'd kick the shit out of us. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh. Oh dear. Video title. We're fed up with the brown sauce. Boat. Oh, I need to get that book. I need to tell you what we're going to do with that. We've got a plan. Me and Mustard have got a plan. Cheeseburger says, Skick. They're at the street corner with their members in their hat. No, I can't say that. I can't say that. Barry Scrotter says, the process involved in making Worcestershire sauce is quite detailed. They stored it in barrels to brew. I had a pub called the Little Sauce Factory in my Mad O'Rourke days. Is the process for making HP sauce is complex? HP has a lot of different ingredients. Now then, when I was a child, when they were still trying to there used to be the HP sauce factory in Birmingham. You could smell it and you can see it from the dental hospital. On the one and only visit I made to the dental hospital, where they said, yeah, your teeth are a bit shagged, but there's fuck all we can do about it because you've got MH. So off you go and good luck. And, you know, I can't grumble. You know, my teeth lasted until I was 50. And, you know, quite frankly, that's not bad going. The rest of me gave up at 50. Why shouldn't my teeth? I've kind of outlived my body. I think my body was designed to have died in my late 40s. So I'm just, you know, it's like a car that's gone well beyond its useful life, and I'm just shambling along as best as I can. But yeah, the HP sauce factory used to be there, didn't it? You could see it and you could smell it, and then it moved, didn't it? God, my memory is telling me it's Ireland now, or was it moved to Belgium or somewhere like that? Was it bought by one of those European big companies? Cheeseburger will know. Cheeseburger knows everything. Frank is with us, evening, Boaty and all. And, oh, yes. Oh, hang on. I saw that somewhere. Cheeseburger says, this video needs to declare paid promotions sponsored by B&M dustbins. And Buddy Scratcher says, oh, yes, I forgot about the dustbin song. Right. Channel members. This is a channel members thing only. They're referring to part of the daily diary that is visible to channel members today and the rest of you. And why would you not be a channel member? Channel membership's available from just 99p per calendar month. The rest of you will get to see it tomorrow. And yeah, there is some dustbin involvement. I hope you enjoyed that. I'll tell you how that came about. I was driving to work, cursing myself for making a daily diary while I was driving to work, because, you know, I'm aware that it's like daily diary failure. It means I've not done anything worthwhile all day. So in a panic, I have to do a daily diary driving to work, which you've seen me do a million times. And I've probably got nothing interesting to say. Now, in my defense, I had to do it because all of the footage I shot during the day was for the sales video, the 7-day sale challenge thingy. And then just out of nowhere, I just thought, dustbin dance. And so I actually put in the video and now the dustbin dance. So that would make me remember it. I get a load of shit flash in my mind. And I think I should put that in a video. That'll really annoy people and people will unsubscribe and that will amuse me. And I forget it. So I thought if I put it in the video, when I come to the edit, that will remind me. And I would never have done it otherwise. I would have forgotten. But I'm editing it and I think, oh yeah, I was going to do that, wasn't I? And I actually did it. And I thought it was really funny. And I hope you did too. Barry Scrotter says, Mustard doesn't even like the golf. He hasn't even watched it for the advert. I know he doesn't like it. His first sales video on the golf was saying, yeah, I don't like this. It's a terrible car. God. And even his advert today for sale was, now I must make it clear, I don't like this car. Oh dear. Oh, right. High Ace Days and Holidays says, Mark. Oh, God, is your name Mark? Oh, we've already got loads of Marks and I get confused with them already. Never mind. Right, Mark. Remember that. The wife has a YouTube channel. Kim Haslam. And that's at Kim Haslam 4663, I think. Am I right in thinking the Clay Cross Gurkha is linked to the Ripley restaurant? You're entirely correct. Yeah, they are sister restaurants. They're under the same ownership. And yeah, absolutely. Yeah, samey, likey. I started off at Clay Cross and I will probably go back there. I keep meaning to go back to record a video there because I'm at Ripley all the time. But, you know, I'm equally involved in Clay Cross and I keep meaning to go and shoot video sometime. I need to go and get that book. I will do that now. So I want to tell you about that. Bear with, talk amongst yourselves, discuss HP source. Right, I showed you this last night. I'll put that there for a second. I'll catch up with the comments and then I'm going to tell you what's going on with that book because we've had a great idea. Me and Mustard. And I'll tell you about my detective work. But I need to catch up with the comments first because I am a consummate professional, as you all know. General Cheeseburger says, Buddy, they moved HP from Aston to Holland. Oh, we gave them HP and they gave us the daft Variumatic rubber band crap. I was working in Birmingham when HP went, says Barry. Lovely car, the daft was, says Jimmy Quinn. Henderson's relish for the win. Well, that's a north-south divide thing, isn't it, Mark? If you're southern, it's Worcester sauce. If you're a bit more northern, it's Hendo's, as we call it up here. Henderson's relish. It's like a northern version of HP sauce. And it's a must-have around here. And shockingly, I don't have any in the cupboard. And that is an omission on my part. And I will buy some with the £1.99 that Mark Prasad kindly sent me. And I'll put it next to the HP sauce. And I'll make a whole live stream about it. I'll do 2 hours on the correct placement of Henderson's relish in the Boaty sauce cupboard. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is brilliant. Cheeseburger says the Street Wank crew could recreate the first Metro advert on the white cliffs of Dover, repelling the invaders. God. Oh, and then Cheeseburger comes up with a video title. Repel all invaders. Mobilise the streetwise. Oh, God. Oh, dear, oh, dear. Oh, I had a Volvo 340. It was called Victor the Volvo, and it was a saloon, and it was in green with green interior. And I sold it to the artist formerly known as Mrs. Boaty before she became the artist formerly known as Mrs. Boaty, or actually before she became the present Mrs. Boaty. We split up quite a few times before we got married. And then we split up after we got married as well, twice, because we separated and then we divorced. So that's two separations, really, isn't it? And got back together each time until we didn't. Well, we did get back together and then we split. So I suppose we split up 3 times after getting married, because we separated, got back together, divorced, got back together, and then I dumped her. Finally, that was when Boo came along. Yeah, poor old artist formerly known as Mrs. Boaty. She got traded in for a much younger model. In the VW scene, Mustard's Golf will be cool. Rat look. Just wants dropping to the weeds. Wants something. Golfs aren't inherently bad, says Mark. Just Octavias are better. After Rovers, obviously. Easy way to sell the Golf, says Cheeseburger. Slam it to the floor, put silly stickers on it, and wear a back-to-front baseball cap. Barry says, Boaty, what is, MH, malignant hyperpyrexia. It's a medical condition. It's the reason why I don't have any surviving family. And it's a kind of, it's an unpleasantly fatal reaction to certain things, including anesthetics, which is why any work I've needed done, like teeth or nasal polyps or anything else, I haven't had done because the anesthetic, at the time, the anesthetic would almost certainly have killed me. That's how my brother went. That's how Mark went anyway. He just went in for a routine tonsillectomy and didn't make it. Bless him. He was 13 years old. And there was, I'll make this very quick. I've covered this before, probably a year ago now. There's always been a risk associated with anesthesia, and there would always be deaths under anesthesia for no immediately explicable reason. How to say this very, very quickly. My brother Mark died post-op after a tonsillectomy. My mother, my parents were told by the hospital that we're really sorry about this. They had a letter, really sorry about this. Sometimes shit happens. We can't explain it. We're sorry. We did everything we could, kind of thing. And then amazingly, either the surgeon or the anesthesiologist, I can't remember which, was attending a conference. And a chap called Professor Ellis was giving a talk, and he was talking about his groundbreaking research into malignant hyperpyrexia. And he was detailing the details all about it, blah, blah, blah. And the chap, surgeon or anesthesiologist, whichever he was, I genuinely can't remember, collared him after the lecture at the conference and said, I've just had a case that sounds exactly like this. And he detailed my brother's death. And they investigated it, they did a post-mortem, blah, blah, blah. And my brother Mark was, I understand, the first death where MH was eventually shown as being the reason. And the research had suggested that this was a familial thing, a hereditary thing, with anybody who was positive having a 50-50 chance of passing it on. So I was the guinea pig, and my poor parents, they've just lost a child under anesthesia, and they were then told that I was going to be taken and operated on. You know, brilliant, isn't it? But they were assured that all of the precautions would be taken, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if they knew what they were doing. I don't think they did, to be honest. I was taken to hospital when I was 4 years old. They took, if you ever see me naked, and I hope you don't, you will see that a large chunk of my leg, my left leg, was removed, basically. They called it a muscle biopsy. It was more like a fucking amputation. I did have a reaction. Because they were on the ball, I survived. I was left in a wheelchair for a year, I think. Most of this I've obliterated from my mind, mostly because of Mark. We were incredibly close. I have to kind of piece things together from things I've been told or tiny little memories. The things that I can remember not being able to sit at my desk in school, either because the wheelchair was too high or because the bandaging around my leg was too bulky, or a combination of the two. And I can remember being held down. The wound they created was so huge, they had to use a massive series of metal clips to try and heal it. And it took so long to heal that all of the skin and everything grew around the clips. And of course, they wouldn't give me an anesthetic to remove the clips. And I can just remember a huge team of people holding me down while they wrenched these clips out of my flesh. Yeah, I do remember that. And oddly enough, the thing I remember most wasn't my own pain, and it was excruciating. It was the pain on my father's face having to watch. That's what I remember more than anything. And yeah, so it turned out that I was highly positive, and that was that really. It just meant that at that time, an anesthetic was at the question. Now, I'm sure things are different now. I'm not sure how different, but I'm sure they're very different. I know that people who have the muscle biopsy for MH now, I know that it's almost keyhole surgery, whereas unlike the huge chunk of my leg that they ripped out of me. Honest to God, one day when I'm drunk, I'll show you the scar. It doesn't look like an operation scar. It starts about there and it goes up to about there. And it's about that wide and it zigzags. It looks as if I was attacked with an axe or a machete or something like that. And yeah, so the last time I properly checked it out, I would have been probably about 30. and or just under 30, and my nasal polyps were incapacitating me 2 or 3 times a year when they became infected. And I had money then. So I went private to see if I could get them sorted, and didn't go through with it because they scared the life out of me. It wasn't understood. Um, the private guy I went to, he was going to do it. He was going to do it with using cocaine, and cocaine is contraindicated. He would have basically killed me, and I would have had to have paid to have been killed. And then the last time I checked out the national health statistics, and I'm going back 20, 25 years, it was something like, if I did have a procedure, it was something like a 40% possibility of fatality and something like 70% chance of brain damage. Now, at that time, Mel's other half, who became her husband, he worked for a company very high up at a company called Zimmer, who were involved in anesthesiology. And he checked things out for me. And he said, look, what you've discovered about the NHS is correct. But in the USA, he worked a lot in the US. He said the US are like 25 years ahead. And you could go to the US and have the procedure, and there would be less than a 1% increased risk over somebody who's non-positive. And he said, and there's actually a US anesthesiologist practicing in Scotland, in Edinburgh. So if you went to him, you'd probably be okay. But by that time, the polyps kind of became less of a problem. And it was way too late to do anything about my teeth or anything else. So I just never bothered. I should be more up to date on it, because I always used to have to wear like a medical alert bracelet, and I used to have to carry a card and all of that sort of thing. I haven't done that for years. I don't know if I'm still supposed to. I've got no idea what risk I would be at now. Quite possibly everything's caught up and there would be no additional risk. But I've still got this thing programmed into my mind that I can't have anything done. And I've got a bit of a phobia of doctors and hospitals, which is ironic considering I used to work in a hospital, but that was different. I worked in PICU, the psychiatric intensive care unit at Chesterfield Royal. And when I was working on the ambulances, obviously I was in and out of hospital. But that didn't bother me. The idea of going in as a patient terrifies me. And if you're wondering about this, that's why I never had it done. That's why I've never been in. I've just got pre-programmed into my head. You don't go to a doctor. You don't go to a hospital. It's not safe. They killed your brother. So there you go. There's a little insight into me that you didn't want. And I'm not telling you about the book, am I? Where did I get to? Oh, yes, about there, wasn't it? Dear. Oh, that's right, Mark. You have still got your Mark II Polo, haven't you? Oh, well, mustard's here, but with no sound again, so we can't hear the word I'm saying. That scar would be a great pulling line. What's the scar, Boaty? Answer, it's from my penis reduction. Cheeseburger, many a true word spoken in jest. I did used to use it. And I'll tell you the God's honest truth. So if I was wearing shorts, and obviously, when I was an athlete, I wore shorts like all of the time. And even afterwards, I wore shorts because I had amazing legs. Why wouldn't you? And of course, people would ask. And my standard reply was something along the lines of that I was walking through Cannon Hill Park. An old lady was set upon by three young muggers. And so I jumped in and unfortunately sorted the first two out. The third one had a knife and managed to get me in the leg before I sorted him out as well. Oh, obviously bollocks, but it did used to work. And because it doesn't look like a medical procedure. It looks horrific. It really does. I'm not bothered by it. I'm not bothered by it being unsightly or anything like that. That's never bothered me in the least. Uh, did you say you worked on the ambulances, says Mark? Yeah, there was a period when I first retired and first moved up here. Um, then, having originally done nothing, I discovered I didn't enjoy doing nothing. It didn't suit me. So I've just moved up into the area. I've moved in with Maggie, the artist formerly known as Mrs. Boaty, and I'm thinking I do actually need to do something. Sitting around is no good for me. I thought I'd do the house husband bit, and I did to a large extent, but the kids were of an age where they didn't really need that. And as it happens, it was at the time when EMAS, East Midlands Ambulance Service, there were so many complaints about EMAS that High Peak and Dale PCT decided to take certain aspects of the ambulance doings back in-house rather than farming it out to EMAS. So they took PTS and whatnot, and it came back in-house. And as it happens, it came within my ex-wife's purview. So she became in charge, not directly. She wasn't like the manager of that, but at that time she was she was either the hospital manager or she was the director of the PCT or whatever. But it came within her purview, and they then had to rustle up a load of staff to staff this new service. So she said, right, you can do this. It'll do you good. Get your ass out of the house. So I did, and I absolutely adored it. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And it ended up that I was doing 2 days based at New Home Hospital in Bakewell, working PTS. I was doing, I had a 2-day contract based at Walton Hospital doing Delta Crew ambulance work. So that included emergency, it included the emergency admissions and discharges and all of that sort of thing, and stretcher work and all of that. And I was also working as a first responder. And I did that for a while. I did it for about 3 or 4 years, I think, and I only stopped doing it because Maggie and I separated, and I went off to live in our cottage in South Wales. Oh yeah, and before I did that, I did a 6-month stint. When I very first moved up, I signed up with a nursing agency because my mother ran a nursing home, so I'd always done some form of voluntary work or sometimes paid work in care or whatnot. So I signed up with a nursing agency, went up and did a few shifts in PICU in the psych intensive care unit. They really liked me and asked me to go there, and I did. So I did 5 or 6 months there. The problem with PQ was I was working with a lot of police who'd taken early retirement, and they were assholes and they were incredibly abusive to the patients, and they took gross advantage of the vulnerable females. especially the vulnerable young females. And they were all pervert. Well, they were nearly all perverts. They were nearly all assholes. And I left after I beat the living shit out of one of them in the car park, and he deserved it. And I wish I'd broken more of him. Asshole. There you go. I'm still not talking about this book, am I? You'll never be a model, and you've accepted that. I wasn't. Oh dear. Bloody hell, Boaty, says Barry. Mark says, bad books. Boaty, fully understandable you avoid doctors after your horrendous experience. Oh, my dad was a paramedic with Derbyshire for 40 years, up to 2010. 2010. I probably won't know him. That's going to be... Oh, hang on. I might. Yeah, I might know him. In fact, if he was there, depending on where he was in Derbyshire, I will know him. You'll never be a model and you've accepted that. There's a story there, Name Me -1. I've told it before and I'll tell it again. And it does relate to the MH stuff. I had a part-time job, or was it a full-time job? I think it was a part-time stroke full-time job when I was a student at a shop called On Your Bike in Birmingham city centre. I used to commute on my bike, literally. I couldn't drive in those days before I passed my test. So I used to ride from Redditch into Birmingham on an all chrome Carlton track. Sorry, I'm talking bikes. You don't want to hear that, do you? And I worked On Your Bike. Now, this was just after I retired from my cycling career. And I was still stinking fit. And I mean stinking fit. Now, I might not have been race fit, and I was still carrying the injury that ended my career. But in normal terms, I was stinking fit, and I was doing, I was doing 60 miles a day riding to work and back, and I wasn't hanging about, as you can imagine. I just couldn't race. I was still, I could have raced at a club level or even at a national level, but I couldn't race at an international level or at a world level. And if I couldn't do that, I wasn't interested. I rode the bike to get to work, so I had no other way to get there. And it was 3 times as quick as public transport. The other guy who worked there was a guy called Matt, and he was a British triathlon champion. He was incredibly fit as well. And we were stupidly competitive with each other, The BBC were recording an episode of something called The Clothes Show in the Palisades, which was a shopping centre thing in Birmingham. Cheesy, you'll know this. And they came into the shop to buy some Lycra. And I can't remember exactly how it happened, but they asked if Matt and I would be interested in appearing on the show modelling the Lycra. We were both stinking fit. We both had amazing bodies. And we said, yeah, I would have been 19, I think, at the time. And Matt would have been a few years older, early 20s, something around there. We were both young bucks. And of course, get our physics onto the telly, show off our bodies. Of course we're going to do it. So I appeared on an episode of The Clothes Show as a model, Name Me -1. And one of the guys took me aside and said, I don't know if you're interested, but if you got your teeth done, you'd have a future as a male model, and you'd have a good future. I could give you all of the work that you could blah, 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 blah. And I had to sort of say, yeah, not an option. Sorry. Talking about teeth, my teeth weren't bad. You look at Facebook, look at old photos of me. My teeth were all there. They just weren't perfect. And they were going to get a lot less perfect. What I needed to have when I was a kid, which a lot of kids have, I needed to have 2 teeth removed there, maybe teeth removed in the lower jaw as well, I can't remember. And I needed a brace fitting so that they all sorted themselves out, but I couldn't have it done. They wouldn't do it. The dentist obviously wouldn't do it. I was sent to the dental hospital in Birmingham, and they wouldn't do it. You know, in their mind, and quite rightly, it was non-essential. And why put my life at risk for the sake of having perfect teeth? Now, and all through my life, that didn't bother me until age kicked in. The fact that my mouth was overcrowded, and then factor in receding gums and probably a bit of gum disease from smoking and whatnot, meant that the bastards are now all falling out. But, you know, I'm still alive, so that's something, isn't it? But yeah, apparently I could have been a model if I'd had my teeth done. Wasn't an option, and I probably wouldn't have done it anyway, but I was a handsome bastard. Memories, eh? I didn't do it on a chopper, Jimmy Quinn. I did it on an all-chrome Carlton track. Palisades is now the largest Primark in Europe. Bloody hell. Right, okay. I'm going to do this and then I'm going to go because we're super late. Those of you who watched last night know that I was sent this book, Buying a Used Car in the UK. Avoid scams and find the best deal. It's written by a guy called Jim Starling, who has a YouTube channel. Definitely not a guru that I've never heard of, but you guys are subscribed to. 2 things. This book was obviously sent to me as a joke, and a very funny one. I find it incredibly amusing, and I want to pass the joke on, and so does Mustard. So, do you remember Hubnut and other channels doing the Pass the Picasso thing, where they pass the card around? We're going to do the same with this book. We're going to send this book to people who have been on YouTube having bought a bad car. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to send it to Mustard, or probably give it to him with a presentation. We'll make a video about it. We'll explain what we're doing. The next person that Mustard is going to send the book to is James, JM on Cars, who is on record on my video as saying that he's the kind of buyer that bad sellers love, because show him a bad car, he will buy it. So James will then be getting this book, and then James will, assuming he plays ball, will send it on to somebody that he knows that's bought a bad car, and we will make a massive joke out of it, and it will hopefully be an ongoing video series. The other thing to mention is I don't know who sent me this. They have so far remained anonymous, but I think I've worked it out. Now, you will see the comments here, right? Now, I didn't spot this last night. That is my address, but, oh, hold on. Look at the name section. Above my address, the name section just says boat. Good idea, Cheeseburger. We will do that. Yes. The name section, it just says boat, right? It's there. You can see it. I'm keeping this packaging because this packaging will be used to send the book on to other people. We can cross our address out, put another address on it, that'll add to the video. But the name section, it only says boat. Now, you all read the comments here. There is only one of you, my beautiful subscribers, that calls me boat. Only one. Nobody else. Everybody else, it's Boaty, Mr. Boaty, Boatmeister, Wanker, whatever. Only one person regularly calls me Boat. Who is it? You tell me. And that, I am convinced, is the person who sent me this book. And good on you, because I think it's hilarious. No, it's not you, Jimmy Quinn. Let's see who actually reads the comment. Only one of you calls me Boat, B-O-A-T, Boat, regularly. Right, we can talk about that tomorrow then, if none of you are going to get it tonight. You're probably bored stiff and wanting to go off and get some supper, aren't you? Or go to bed, and it is that time. So, it is you, Skick. It is you. It's you, Skick. I know it's you. I bet it's you. Unless somebody's done a really cunning double bluff and put Boat to make me think that it's you. But I'm pretty sure it's you, Skick. That is your sense of humour. That is I know that's your sense of humour. You are exactly the sort of chap who would send me, a lifelong car dealer, a book written by a YouTuber on how to buy a used car. I call you Boat occasionally, but it's not me, says Cheeseburger. It's Skick. Oh, you would say, actually, Skick. Yeah, you would. Oh, well, so much for my detective skills then. Oh, maybe it's not Skick. Oh, I got all excited. I discovered that when I was on the phone to Mustard earlier. And I said, I know who it is. I know who it is. But that's what we're going to do with the book anyway. And, oh, has he? Has he, Mark? Well, we can revisit this tomorrow, can't we, darling? It really is time to let you go. Thank you so much for your company tonight. Do say your good night. I'll give you a second. Say good night to each other. Don't need to go mad. It's Wednesday. We'll be here again tomorrow night. Thursday night live, my darling. Same time, same place. Same bollocks being talked about HP Source. Oh, it was you, Skick. And the wine. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for both, Skick. The wine was a lovely gift. I'm really grateful for that. And I think this is hilarious. Skick, I think you're a genius. And if you're okay with it, when we start the video series on this, you will be named in honor. You will be named in honor as the man who started this. I think it's hilarious. I think it's clever. I think it's just so funny. And I think you're a genius, mate. Oh, there we go. And thank you for the wine. That's a lovely bottle of wine. And thank you to, it was Mark, wasn't it? The lovely Mark who sent me a super chat. It was Mark Bassad. I've got it there. Thank you. So thank you very much for being with me. I've loved tonight. It's been hilarious. Apologies for mentioning HB Sauce and bicycles and MH. Lunch today, if you're in, what did I have for lunch today? God, I can't remember. Oh, noodle review. I did a noodle review, another noodle review. Sorry, you've got that to endure tomorrow. But these are the best noodles yet. Absolutely, my highly recommended they were. And tonight's supper will be, it's a curry supper. Well, that's not going to come as a surprise to you, is it? Tomorrow we'll bring the third video in the 7-day sale shenanigan, whatever it's called. Forgotten what I called it now. Oh, sales challenge. Oh, whatever. And tomorrow night in the 1919 slot will be Mustard and Boaty do lunch with Tom Drives. So, and then I will see you 11 o'clock Thursday night live. Thank you so much, my lovelies. Thank you again, Skick. I agree with Cheeseburger. Skick, you're a hero. All right, darlings, please have a safe and peaceful night. Take great care of yourselves. Thank you so much for being there and being you and being fabulous and just making my life better on a daily basis. And I will see you tomorrow. Much love. Pachu and indeed, bosh. No.